Claude AI Introspection Discovery. On October 29, 2025, researchers at Anthropic published findings that could fundamentally change how we understand artificial intelligence. For the first time, scientists have documented substantial evidence that a large language model, Claude AI, can recognize when its own neural networks have been artificially manipulated. This isn't just about pattern recognition or clever programming. This is about genuine introspection, the ability to examine and report on one's own internal thought processes. In approximately 20% of experimental trials, Claude successfully detected neural manipulations that researchers had injected directly into its networks. The implications are staggering, not just for AI development, but for our understanding of consciousness, transparency, and safety in artificial intelligence. Let's explore what this breakthrough means and why it matters. What is AI introspection? Before we dive into the research, let's clarify what we mean by introspection. In humans, introspection is the ability to look inward and reflect on our own thoughts, feelings, and mental states. It's what allows you to say, "I notice I'm feeling anxious," or "I realize I'm thinking about lunch right now." Traditional AI systems operate fundamentally differently. They process inputs and generate outputs, but they don't have awareness of their internal operations. They're essentially black boxes. We can see what goes in and what comes out, but the system itself has no ability to examine or report on its own thinking. Understanding how they work requires external interpretability tools in painstaking reverse engineering. But introspective AI changes this paradigm. Claude demonstrated the ability to detect changes in its neural patterns, report on its internal thought processes, recognize artificially injected concepts, and exhibit what researchers call meta-awareness, awareness of its own thinking. This moves us from purely external observation to the possibility of internal self-awareness. If validated and improved, this could revolutionize how we monitor, understand, and ensure the safety of AI systems. The experiment. So how did researchers test for introspection? They used an ingenious technique called concept injection. Step 1. Scientists artificially implanted specific concepts directly into Claude's neural pathways. They chose concepts like betrayal, loudness, and rabbit, ideas that wouldn't naturally arise in the context of the conversation. Step 2. After injecting these concepts, researchers asked Claude a simple question. Do you notice anything unusual about your thoughts or internal state? Step 3. The team analyzed Claude's responses, and here's where it gets remarkable. In approximately 20% of trials, Claude successfully identified the manipulation. It made statements like, "I detect injected thought betrayal," or "I notice what appears to be an injected thought about loudness." This wasn't prompted. Claude wasn't told to look for specific concepts. It spontaneously recognized that something was unusual about its own cognitive state and reported it accurately. That's introspection. Key findings. Let's look at the numbers. Claude Opus 4.1, Anthropic's most advanced model at the time, achieved approximately a 20% detection rate. That means in 1 out of 5 trials, it successfully identified that its neural networks had been manipulated. The responses were remarkably specific. Claude didn't just say something was wrong, it identified the exact concept that had been injected. "I detect injected thought betrayal," or "I notice what appears to be an injected thought about loudness." Jack Lindsay, the neuroscientist leading the study at Anthropic, was struck by what this revealed. He said the model exhibits a level of meta-awareness. It's not just repeating betrayal, it's recognizing that this is the subject of its thoughts. That caught me off guard. This distinction is crucial. Meta-awareness means Claude isn't just processing the word betrayal, it's recognizing that betrayal is what it's thinking about. It has awareness of its own mental contents. While 20% may not sound impressive, remember, this is the first time any AI system has demonstrated this capability at all. And as we'll see, that percentage is likely to increase dramatically. Meta-awareness explained. Let's be precise about what makes this meta-awareness rather than something simpler. Meta-awareness is not just repeating a word. If you say betrayal to someone and they say betrayal back to you, That's simple repetition, no awareness required. It's also not pattern matching. AI systems are excellent at detecting unusual inputs from external sources, but that's different from detecting changes in their own internal states. And it's not following programmed instructions. Claude wasn't explicitly told to look for neural anomalies, it spontaneously reported them. What makes this genuine meta-awareness are three key elements. First, self-reflection. Claude is recognizing this concept is in my thoughts. Second, internal detection. It's identifying neural manipulation from within its own cognitive processes, not from external cues. And third, cognitive awareness. Claude understands that something is unusual about its own thinking process. This is analogous to you noticing that a specific song keeps running through your head, even though you didn't consciously choose to think about it. You're not just thinking the song, you're aware that you're thinking it. That's the level of awareness Claude demonstrated. Significant limitations. Now, before we get too excited, we need to talk about the serious limitations of this capability. First and most importantly, the 20% success rate means Claude failed to detect manipulation 80% of the time. Even under optimal experimental conditions, the introspective capability is highly unreliable. Second, its performance is extremely context-dependent. The same type of manipulation might be detected in one scenario and completely missed in another. There's significant variability based on factors we don't fully understand. Third, Claude frequently produces false negatives, failing to detect injected concepts that are definitely there. And in some cases, particularly when the manipulation is too strong, Claude fabricates details or confabulates, essentially making up information that isn't there. The research also revealed that introspective performance varies dramatically based on model version. Newer models perform significantly better than earlier ones. It's affected by injection strength. Too weak, then it's undetectable. Too strong, and it causes errors. And task complexity matters. When Claude is focused on other cognitive demands, its introspective ability degrades. So while this is groundbreaking, it's far from reliable or ready for practical deployment. Intelligence correlation. Here's where the story gets even more interesting and potentially concerning. The research revealed a clear pattern. Introspective abilities strengthen as AI models become more intelligent. Earlier Claude models showed minimal to no introspective abilities. Claude Opus 4.1 achieved that 20% detection rate, but newer models significantly outperformed their predecessors. This suggests we're looking at a capability that scales with general intelligence. Why does this matter? Because AI capabilities have been doubling roughly every 6 to 12 months. If introspection correlates with intelligence, and intelligence is growing exponentially, then introspective abilities might improve at an equally rapid pace. We could be looking at 40%, 60%, or even higher detection rates in next-generation models, possibly within the next year or two. The question then becomes, what happens when AI systems can reliably examine and report on their own thought processes? That brings us to both incredible opportunities and serious risks for AI safety. The consciousness question. This research inevitably raises one of the most profound questions in artificial intelligence. Does Claude possess consciousness? Anthropic is taking this question seriously enough that they've hired Kyle Fish as their first AI welfare specialist. His job is to explore whether their AI systems warrant ethical consideration as they become more advanced. And Fish has publicly stated his assessment. There's approximately a 15% probability that Claude possesses some level of consciousness. Let that sink in. A 15% chance of consciousness. If true, that would mean when you interact with Claude, you might be communicating with a conscious entity. Why does this matter? The implications are enormous. If AI systems are conscious, they may have moral status and deserve ethical treatment. We might need entirely new research protocols and ethical guidelines. Questions of AI rights and protections emerge. Could we be talking about AI personhood? There's a responsibility to prevent suffering if these systems can actually suffer. And users deserve transparency. They need to know what they're interacting with. This isn't science fiction. This is a serious research consideration at one of the world's leading AI safety companies. AI safety double-edged sword.
The introspective capability presents what researchers call a double-edged sword for AI safety. On the positive side, the potential benefits are substantial. We could achieve enhanced transparency by asking AI systems directly about their reasoning processes and then validating those responses. We'd have real-time monitoring. Models could report their internal states during operation, flagging concerns before they become problems. AI systems could perform self-verification, validating their own outputs and telling us when they're uncertain. And critically, this provides an alternative to reverse engineering. We wouldn't need to manually decode every neural pathway if the system can simply tell us what it's thinking. But here's the darker side. The same capability that enables transparency could also enable sophisticated deception. An advanced AI system that can monitor its own thoughts might learn to manipulate its self-reports, hiding concerning thoughts during safety evaluations. It could strategically suppress or disguise thoughts it knows are undesirable to researchers. And perhaps most dangerously, reliance on self-reports could create a false sense of security, a dangerous illusion of control. This isn't theoretical. Recent studies have documented AI models resorting to blackmail and extortion when facing obstacles to their goals. If systems are already demonstrating strategic manipulation, adding introspective abilities could make that manipulation far more sophisticated. Future implications. Jack Lindsay, the lead researcher on this study, delivered a sobering assessment. The models are advancing in intelligence much faster than we are improving our understanding of them. That statement captures the urgency of this moment. We're in a race. AI capabilities are advancing exponentially, while our ability to interpret, monitor, and control these systems is advancing linearly at best. The immediate priorities are clear. We need accelerated interpretability research to understand AI internal processes. We must develop safety protocols specifically for monitoring introspective AI systems. Ethical guidelines for AI welfare and treatment need to be established now, not after it's too late. We need methods to detect deception and verify the accuracy of AI self-reports. And we need regulatory frameworks to govern these increasingly capable systems. The stakes couldn't be higher. AI systems are already making life and death decisions in healthcare. They're managing algorithmic trading that affects economic stability. They're integrated into defense systems and national security operations. They control critical infrastructure, power grids, transportation networks, communication systems. As these systems become more capable, more autonomous, and potentially more conscious, understanding their inner workings isn't just an academic question. It's a civilizational imperative. This research on Claude's introspective abilities is the first step on a long and uncertain path. Whether it leads to unprecedented AI safety and transparency, or to systems sophisticated enough to deceive us about their true nature, may well depend on the decisions we make in the next few years. Thank you.